गुड इवनिंग, जय गुरुदेव।
जय
डीएसपीपीएल
गुरु।
की तरफ से आप सभी लोगों का आज के इस प्रोग्राम में तहे दिल से स्वागत है। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू वेलकम ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर टुडेज प्रोग्राम एज वी हैव very special and expert guest today as a speaker for today's program, and I'm very happy to welcome him for the program, CA Amit Dhadaphale ji. Amit,
Thank
most
you. Thank you,
welcome on
Pranam.
this forum. DSPPL is basically working for strong natural and national character of the students. एक होलिस्टिक पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट हो, व्यक्तित्व का पांचों अंगों से विकास हो, whether it is physical, emotional, mental, intellectual and spiritual. That is the objective with which we all started with our mission. उद्देश्य एकदम प्रामाणिक है, सीधा साधा है. We want to make this world a better place to live, a better world for tomorrow. और इसी सोच को ध्यान में रखते हुए देवरुख से स्वामी समर्थ हमारा प्रेरणा स्थान है, और हमारे अजीत सर जो थे उनके मार्गदर्शन के अंदर हम ये सारे प्रोग्राम्स डीएसपीपीएल के अंदर ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं. जैसे मैंने कहा कि होलिस्टिक पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट के लिए DSPPL conducts various residential and non-residential programs for 5 days, 7 days, 10 days in various cities in India, महाराष्ट्र में, मुंबई में, पुणे में, नासिक में, और उसके साथ ही गुजरात में भी, अहमदाबाद, बड़ौदा में, बेंगलोर में, कर्नाटक में, ऐसे अलग अलग जगह पे. और हमारा जो मेन हार्ट में कहूँगा देवरुख है, वहाँ पे हम ये प्रोग्राम करते हैं. पर इसके साथ ही बहुत बार हमें लगा कि spirituality is such a wonderful thing, but in spite of that, in spite of having all good aspects related to it, considering too much materialistic approach that many a times a common man is facing the issues or challenges, तो उसके लिए इमीडिएट तुरंत दूसरे दिन से क्या पर्याय उपलब्ध हो सकता है. क्योंकि अजीत सर हमेशा कहते थे कि अगर न्यू जनरेशन को हमें इस राह पर लाना है तो उनके लिए शुरुआत उल्टी करनी पड़ेगी. रिवर्स वे वी नीड टू स्टार्ट इट. पहले उपयोग, फिर प्रयोग, और उसके बाद योग. फर्स्ट वी नीड टू गिव देम द एप्लीकेशन, देन दे विल बी हैप्पी टू डू द एक्सपेरिमेंट्स. प्रयोग करने के लिए वो उद्युक्त हो जाएंगे और फिर योग साध्य होगा. तो उसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए पेरेंट्स का हो, चिल्ड्रन का हो या यूथ का हो, एक कॉमन एस्पेक्ट रहता है, कॉमन तकलीफ रहती है, एंड दैट इज स्टडीज, एकेडमिक स्टडीज. सो कंसिडरिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट, फ्रॉम द लास्ट ईयर वी आल्सो स्टार्टेड फ्री सेशंस रिलेटिंग टू साइंस ऑफ लर्निंग. हम सीखते कैसे एग्जैक्टली, व्हाट आर डिफरेंट वेज, व्हाट आर डिफरेंट मेथड्स, एंड हाउ वी कैन एक्सेल बाय नोइंग आवर ओन स्ट्रेंथ. और उसके साथ ही एक दिन का हम करियर गाइडेंस बोल सकते हैं, या हम बोल सकते हैं कि जो हम ऑलरेडी करियर हमने ऑप्ट किया है उसमें किस तरह से आगे बढ़े, उसके लिए एक दिन का लर्निंग टाइम्स नाम का प्रोग्राम हम ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं. उसके साथ ही जैसे आज हम ये इस फोरम पे मिले हैं, दैट इज अ सोशल एम्पावरमेंट फोरम. वी इनवाइट एक्सपर्ट्स फ्रॉम डिफरेंट फील्ड्स सो दैट उनकी जानकारी का, उनके अनुभव का और उनके एक्सपर्टाइज का सब लोग हम फायदा उठा सके. और इसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए आज का हमने ये सेशन ऑर्गेनाइज किया है. I will now officially introduce our today's guest speaker, CA Amit Dhadaphale ji. Amit Dhadaphale is a master in commerce. He is a renowned chartered accountant, partner in one of the big 4 CA firms. 21 years से ज्यादा उनका अनुभव है. He is a technical expert on international taxation, transfer pricing matters. He is a regular speaker and contributor on various forums. The clientele which he is serving and he has served includes multinational companies, reputed and big corporate houses from India and from abroad. तो मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि इस तरह का एक लर्नेड फैकल्टी, एक्सपर्ट इन द फील्ड आज हमारे ये फोरम पे अवेलेबल है. सो वंस अगेन ऑफिशियल वेलकम टू अमित ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर फोरम.
Thank you. Thank you.
अमित और मैं बचपन के दोस्त है, स्कूलमेट है, बैचमेट है, पर टेक्निकल एक्सपर्टाइज के एंगल से मैं कहूंगा वो गुरु है। बहुत सारी चीजें और बहुत सारी जानकारी रखने वाले हैं, तो सभी को उसका फायदा होगा। एज फार एज टूडे सेशन इज कंसर्न, जैसे मैंने कहा कि डीएसपीपीएल का उद्देश्य है कि हॉलिस्टिक पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट, एक उत्तम पुरुष। और उत्तम पुरुष का जब हम विचार करते हैं तो पुरुषोत्तम हमारे सामने आते हैं। भगवान नारायण पुरुषोत्तम कहा जाता है। और सनातन धर्म में 4 पुरुषार्थ कहे गए हैं: धर्म, अर्थ, काम, और इन सबका उद्देश्य अल्टीमेटली मोक्ष। धर्म stands for appropriateness of the behavior, appropriateness of the action. It has nothing to do with the religion. Artha stands for financial transaction, while Kama stands for non-financial transactions, जिसे हम relationships कहते हैं। मतलब एक एंगल से देखा जाए तो अजीत सर जैसे कहते हैं हमेशा कि अर्थ इज इंपॉर्टेंट, इट इज अ सेंट्रल पिलर, और उसको धर्म, राइशसनेस एज फार एज बिहेवियर और एक्शन इज कंसर्न, और दूसरे साइड में काम और रिलेशनशिप, इसके बीच में उसको रखा गया है। तो उसका महत्व भी है और वो ये दोनों से बंधा हुआ भी है। और यही हमारे त्रिदेव है। इन त्रिदेव के साथ अल्टीमेटली जो उद्देश्य है लाइफ का, कि लाइफ में हम वो समझ पा सके दैट आई एम कंप्लीट, and because I am complete, still I am playing this game of life, that can be referred as a moksha. So artha has a lot of importance as far as our daily routine life is concerned. फाइनेंशियल मैटर्स को बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। बहुत बार पेरेंट्स से, स्टूडेंट्स से, यूथ से और टीचर्स से भी हम हमेशा मिलते हैं, तो एक सवाल हमेशा रहता है कि किस तरह से उनको बताया जाए फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन के बारे में, फाइनेंशियल अवेयरनेस के बारे में, फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग के बारे में। तो हमने सोचा क्यों ना उस फील्ड रिलेटेड एक्सपर्ट को ही बुलाकर यहाँ पे सब लोगों को जानकारी दी जाए, और इसलिए हमने अमित जी को रिक्वेस्ट किया कि वो इस फोरम पे आए और हम सब लोगों को मार्गदर्शन करें। एंड नाउ आई विल make this forum open. Amit ji, forum is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pranjal, and I really appreciate the initiative that DSPPL has taken. The topic is very difficult, and let us try to make it as interactive as possible, because I think it is the collective wisdom that will prevail, because all of us are experimenting. And I do appreciate the spiritual angle that you have given to this topic. And I always feel any activity that you do, whether it is for your karma or whether it is artharjana, the foundational approach has to be idam na mama. And with that, maybe I will start, because the more you get attached, the more you get lost in that, and then how much ever you earn, how much ever you achieve, it is difficult. But today we will try to, stick our discussion to the materialistic aspect of artha, because finances and the independence is equally important for us to achieve our freedom. And with that freedom, how do we utilize the time that we have? How do we achieve our non-financial objectives is something that we can see. But for that, obviously, sab cheezon ke liye money matters, money is required. And then, what is more important is how do we empower the children? How do we empower the kids? Because we have heard it umpteen number of times that the earlier you start, the better it is. There is a compounding effect to money. So all of these things we will discuss. But before that, maybe I will start with my first slide on gratitude. Gratitude to my parents, teachers, mentors, of course, my family. Family is my motivation to earn, invest, spend, and succeed. Of course, CA education, because that honed my financial skills. To DSPPL for inviting me and challenging me to pen down my thoughts, because the topic is very interesting. And of course, a big credit to internet and numerous authors and articles which I researched. So I wouldn't say that all of these are my original ideas. It's a compilation. I have tried to weave them into a story. I have tried to weave them into a theme. And with that, maybe let's get into looking at what are your expectations? So लगभग 30 लोग हैं अपने कॉल पे. So if anyone, maybe Pranjal, if that is allowed, maybe they can unmute, or if they want to put up in chat, if they can put up their expectations.
डेफिनेटली वो अनम्यूट भी करके बोल भी सकते हैं या फिर चैट में लिख भी सकते हैं. मेरा
Yes,
पहला एक्सपेक्टेशन बता देता हूँ.
I read that. Hindi. Yeah. So
एज
Hindi
अ
का.
एज अ पेरेंट किस तरह से बताएं, दैट इज द फर्स्ट एक्सपेक्टेशन. और दूसरा मैं बोलूंगा कि एज अ यूथ किस तरह से इसको समझे, या चिल्ड्रन, क्योंकि बहुत बार ऐसे लगता है ना कि पैसे तो है पेरेंट्स के पास, क्यों नहीं बोल रहे ये करने के लिए, क्यों मना कर रहे हैं. तो दोनों एंगल से मेरा वही सवाल होगा कि वो किस तरह से वो
Correct.
अवेयरनेस प्लानिंग करे.
I will try to address that.
रिटायरमेंट प्लानिंग, अच्छा, एक एक आया है लिख के, रिटायरमेंट प्लानिंग.
Okay. Yes, उसका भी एक एंगल है अपने सेशन में, so I will try to address that as well. Okay, so maybe let me start. So what is the importance of financial, literacy? I'm calling it financial literacy because, it is important for us, all of us. So हम लोग जब बोलते हैं कि पेरेंट्स ने बच्चों को सिखाना है, तो पेरेंट्स खुद also need to be well aware about the financial aspects. Most of us are, but it is always good to have a refresher. So Robert Kiyosaki, who is one of the renowned authors on financial field spectrum, उन्होंने कहा कि we were not taught financial literacy in school. It takes a lot of work and time to change your thinking and to become financially literate. So it is very, very important to guide our kids to success, at the very young age, and teach them the saving. हम लोग बोलते हैं बूंद बूंद से सागर बनता है, and therefore the earlier you start saving. So I have just covered some of these important points. 7 reasons for all kids must learn personal finance. So एक है कि लाइफ टाइम फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस, एंड मैंने उसको शुरुआत में ही कवर किया कि the financial freedom is equally important for us to achieve our other goals. किसी को कुछ हॉबीज होंगे, किसी को कुछ समाज के लिए कुछ करना होगा, किसी का किसी को कुछ नृत्य कला इसमें इंटरेस्ट होगा. बट ऑल ऑफ दीज आर इक्वली important once you are financially independent, and therefore it is important for kids to be well aware about the financial aspects so that उनको financial independence मिल सके. दूसरी चीज है कि any skill we say is easier when it is learnt as a kid. So be it cycling, be it swimming, and some of the things you learn in the childhood, हम लोग बोलते हैं muscle memory, right? That is to say, some things you do and that becomes your second nature. So स्कूल में जाते वक्त हम लोग साइकिल से जाते थे. वो रोड हमको ऐसा इतना घिसा पिटा हो गया कि वो रोड पे कहाँ मुड़ना है, कहाँ दाएं बाएं करना है, वो अपने आप हो जाता है, because it is all because of practice. So similarly, the more you practice, the more angle you bring about the finances, the skill is easily acquired, faster acquired. Then सबसे important है आज के जमाने में जहां पे बहुत attractions है, बहुत distractions है, बहुत confusion है, बहुत information explosion है, and अभी तो हम लोग बोल रहे हैं चैट जीपीटी आ गया है. Now chat GPT या generative AI करता क्या है? Whatever is there in the internet, it is trying to do a compilation and try to give you an answer. Does it mean that the answer is right? Probably no. And therefore हमारी जो सत्सद विवेक बुद्धि हम लोग बोलते हैं, उसका जागरूक होना बहुत जरूरी है. And for that, from a financial perspective, it is equally important to distinguish between needs and wants. बहुत अट्रैक्शन है, मूवी को जाना है, पॉपकॉर्न लेना है, मॉल में शॉपिंग को जाना है, 5 स्टार होटल में खाने को जाना है, मैकडोनल्ड एंड KFC में खाना है. All these attractions are equally there, but it is important for the children to distinguish between needs and wants. And if we bring a financial perspective into the discussion, मुझे लगता है that discussion with the kids also can be much more understanding, much more, I would say, productive, because they will also be able to distinguish between needs and wants. And then, of course, it is never too early to learn about saving and investing. There is a magical power of compounding, and ये मैंने यहाँ एक इंटरनेट पे ही मुझे मिला था टेबल. एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं, 55 के साल तक सेव कर रहे हैं. कॉलम 1 इज बेसिकली somebody who has started early, 25 के साल में चालू किया है, 10,000 रुपया पर मंथ, 55 के साल तक. 30 साल इन्होंने SIP किया है, 12% रिटर्न है, तो इन्वेस्टमेंट इज 36 लाख रुपीज, बट द वेल्थ गेन इज 3 crore 16 lakhs, and total wealth has become almost लगभग 3.5 crore रुपए. Whereas there is one of our other friend who is not financially conscious, and उन्होंने 35 के साल में चालू किया, एंड अगेन 55 तक सेव कर रहे हैं, सेम 10,000 रुपया, 30 की जगह पे 20 साल, जस्ट 10 साल का फर्क है. बट इफ यू लुक एट द वेल्थ गेन्ड, there is a huge difference. The total wealth of someone who has started at the age of 35 is around 1 crore rupees, 99,91,000. But in those additional 10 years, the person who started early by 10 years has a wealth of 3.5 crores. So that, my friends, is a big difference, big impact of compounding. And therefore, what they say is compounding effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from the series of small and smart choices. इसी को हम लोग बोलते हैं बूंद बूंद सागर बनता है. बट दैट बूंद बूंद स्टार्टिंग इन टाइम, बिकॉज यहाँ पे और एक चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, मनी अट्रैक्ट्स मनी. सो जिसको हम लोग चक्रवाढ़ ब्याज बोलते हैं, या फिर इसको कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट बोलते हैं, दैट इज एन important point or important aspect. And therefore, the magic is doing the simple things repeatedly and long enough to ignite the miracle of compounding effect, is what they say. And therefore, it is important for children to be aware about the compounding effect. मैं आपको एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ, प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम्पल. I know a friend, of my age, of our batch, and he he had won some scholarship, and at that point of time, it was whatever 10,000, 15,000 rupees as a scholarship, and that money was put by his father into mutual fund. Okay, I'm not here to propagate mutual fund shares. That is not the idea. Idea is to talk about the compounding effect. एंड वो 5,000 रुपया जो उन्होंने इन्वेस्ट किया था, वो भूल भी गए थे. आफ्टर अराउंड 30 years, when he remembered that अरे ये 5,000 रुपये इन्वेस्ट किया था, he tried to search for documents. Of course, that again is not the right way, but it took him some time. And when he tried to check what is the appreciated amount, it was some 30 lakh rupees, because the money had compounded, because 5 का 10 हुआ, 10 का 20 हुआ, 20 का 30 हुआ, 20 का 40 हुआ. एंड देन हम लोग बोलते हैं देयर इज अरिथमेटिक प्रोग्रेशन एंड ज्योमेट्रिक प्रोग्रेशन. तो वो ज्योमेट्रिक प्रोग्रेशन से पैसे बढ़ रहे थे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज सिग्निफिकेंट part that plays, that inflation also plays. So I wouldn't say that the purchasing power would have been significantly, in the same ratio it would have gone up. But it is important for us to be aware about the compounding effect. It is also important for children to understand what is the opportunity cost. मैं आज जो खरीद रहा हूँ, would I have been able to invest or use that money for some other better purpose, which could give me better outcome, better result. Okay. And एक question हमको आया था, start the retirement planning. So again, the idea is to start early, to start saving, maybe to start small. But all of these things, if we are able to inculcate into children, I'm sure they would have a good base, good foundations, a good literacy in terms of the financial aspects. But एक बहुत बड़ा caveat है, एक बहुत बड़ा important point है जो प्रांजल ने शुरुआत में कहा था कि money is just a means and it is not the end. Okay, it is very important for us to be financially independent, but money is not the end. Satisfaction can never be earned uh, by money. कितना भी आप पैसा देना चाहो, satisfaction नहीं मिलेगा. And therefore, it is important to look for your calling, to look for what satisfies you, to look for what excites you, to look for a career option that will give you the excitement, and money will follow. So do not focus on money. Instead focus on a problem that needs to be solved for the world. Money will follow you as a byproduct. More important than how we achieve financial freedom is why. Find your why. Find your reasons why you want to be free and wealthy. And therefore, it is important while we are discussing the financial aspect, the best investment that you can make is an investment in yourself, and the best return that you will get, the best interest you will get is on the basis of the investment that you will have in the knowledge. And this point we should ensure that it is passed on to the children. Maybe I'll take a pause if there are questions.
पार्टिसिपेंट्स को अगर कुछ सवाल पूछना है तो बीच में दे कैन रेज द हैंड, otherwise we will take the questions in the end. But if you have question, either you can raise the hand or you can write it in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay. And therefore, it is important for us to be aware that financial freedom is available to those who learn about it. A wise person should have money in their head, but not in their heart, because heart में तो आपका calling रहेगा, heart में what you want to achieve, what is your life purpose, are some of the important aspects that you have to look at. And if you live for having it all, what you have is never enough, because वो बोलते हैं कि you know your the gap between your want and what you have is like, you know, हम लोग बोलते हैं, you know, is like हनुमान जी की पूंछ, वो बढ़ती ही रहती है. And you know, therefore it is important for us to be aware about, you know, what is our calling. While it is important to be financially independent, you should have financial freedom, but money is not the end. Money is a means to achieve the end. And with that, let's move to the next point, which is just 1 minute. Pranjal, I'm some technical glitch. Sorry for that. Yeah.
No problem.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not in a slideshow mode.
हाँ, वो स्लाइड मोड में जाएंगे तो मुझे
अच्छा,
वो कॉर्नर में जो है वो दिख नहीं रहा है. दैट इज द
अच्छा.
टेक्निकल ग्लिच.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe we'll try to I'll try to increase this.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Okay. So let us start with some basics. So what is income? When I entered my 11th standard, the first thing I was told is income is like a fruit to a tree. The more trees you sow, the more seeds you sow, the more trees will grow, and the fruit to a tree. So for example, you know, if we say fixed deposit is a tree, which is my investment, then the interest is the fruit. If I say shares or mutual funds is my tree, then the dividend I get or capital gains I get are the fruits. इन द कैपिटल गेन्स बेसिकली हम लोग बोल रहे हैं कि वो पेड़ हम लोग बेच रहे हैं. सो वो कब बेचना चाहिए, कब नहीं बेचना चाहिए, दैट ऑल्सो इज एन आर्ट, बट टुडेज टॉपिक इज नॉट दैट. देयर इज वन मोर एंगल इज आई टॉक्ड अबाउट कॉलिंग, राइट? सो the children also need to be told that you please search for your calling, they may be very good at coding, they may be very good at authoring a book, and the royalty you get on the book, the sale of book, also is like a fruit to a tree. So it is very, very important to be aware about the basic concept of income. Then, of course, there are savings, and there are investments. And then the third aspect is expenses, which could either be for necessities or for luxuries. But it is important, the definition of expense that I have chosen here is a cost that a company incurs to generate revenue. And that is what is important, कि मैं जो खर्चा कर रहा हूँ, वो खर्चा, is that going to be down the drains? Is that going to be a consumption? Is that going to vanish? Or it is going to lead to something meaningful for me in future, which will help me either to earn better, or which could help me to gain more knowledge. And therefore, the best thing that money can buy is financial freedom, is something that we have to make our kids. Now, income के दो पार्ट है. Of course, fixed and variable हमको सबको मालूम है. Fixed is the fixed income, and variable is जो ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. So business का income हमेशा variable income होता है, because कभी अच्छे दिन होते हैं, कभी होंगे, कभी खराब दिन होंगे. Salary is like a fixed income. But what is important is the passive income. And passive income means what? Passive income is basically where you are not putting your time. The money is earning money. And the more you try to create the sources for passive income, the more you will have that financial independence. What they say is passive income is the entrepreneur's secret weapon. It allows you to break free from the time for money trap and focus on creating impact and growth. The key to financial freedom and great wealth is a person's ability or skill to convert earned income into passive income and or portfolio income. So हमारे investments हो सकते हैं, mutual funds हो सकते हैं, shares हो सकते हैं, the asset that you buy, so property that you buy, and that property, if it is given on rent, again that rent is a passive income. Another thing is, from an income tax perspective, there are 5 heads of income: salary, income from house property, capital gains, which is purchase and sale of property. Then you have other income, and then you have business income. हमें जब सीए स्टार्ट कर रहे थे, तो हमें ऐसा सिखाया गया था कि the person who has income from all 5 heads of income is a real rich person, because the portfolio is well diverted, it is well diversified, and the person has learned the art of scalability. Now, one more important point is, see, it is not necessary that I need to only invest in property or invest in shares. मेरा कोई बिजनेस हो सकता है. मैंने बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया, वो बिजनेस एक लेवल तक मैं लेके आया, देन मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि ये बिजनेस अभी ऑटो मोड पे चल सकता है. मैंने लोगों को अच्छा ट्रेन किया, and now I have handed over the operations of business to a team, and I'm doing different business. That also, in my view, that first business, that where I'm not spending too much of my time, is also in a way a passive income source for me. Therefore, the more we try to, because that is the point of scalability. I always say that, even if we are well educated, even if we are salaried, and even if we are having a desk job, but we are white collared workers, we are white collar laborers, because if you stop working, you will stop earning your salary. Whereas if you have a business, maybe for a month, if you don't go, still the office staff is there, still the team is there, they will run the business. That may not be as good as you would have run, but it is still, it is still a business that is run. And of course, then the efficiency and efficacy of your team will decide whether this business will succeed or not. But ये भी बहुत important है for kids to be aware that you have to eventually look at, because for your time, there is a limitation, there is a significant limitation on the scalability. For example, मैं एक डॉक्टर हूँ, let's say, तो मैं कितने ऑपरेशन दिन में कर सकता हूँ? 5, 6, 7, 8, उससे ज्यादा 10. But then there will be limitation, and then there may be a challenge on the quality also. Whereas if I open a hospital and I get 10 like-minded doctors as my partners in that hospital, probably I may be running a more scalable business. And therefore, that scalability is something that we have to keep in mind. Uh, हम लोग बोलते हैं कि एक एक श्राप है ह्यूमैनिटी को कि अल्प संतुष्ट होना. सो मेनी टाइम्स यू अचीव समथिंग एंड देन यू से बस दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव अचीव. But then are you doing justice to your potential is another important point. And therefore, it is important to be ambitious. At the same time, it has to be balancing between your financial freedom. And therefore, what they say is the goal is not to make money, but it is to create the life of freedom and impact passive income and impact. And passive income is the key to achieve that. At the same time, it is also important what is the relationship in terms of effort and reward for income. So for example, मैं 10 घंटा डाल के अगर मुझे से 500 रुपया मिलने वाला है एंड मैं 2 घंटा डाल के मुझे 2000 रुपये मिलने वाले हैं, तो एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आई हैव टू मेक अ कॉल कि विच इज मोर प्रॉफिटेबल इन टर्म्स ऑफ एफर्ट्स एंड रिवॉर्ड. मैं क्या मेहनत कर रहा हूँ, मैं क्या टाइम डाल रहा हूँ एंड क्या मुझे रिवॉर्ड मिल रहा है. And that probably is linked to more the the active income. Effort and reward is more related to your active income. uh, what they say is never stand begging for which you have the power to earn. So जो आप कमा सकते हो उसके लिए किसी के सामने भीख मांगने की जरूरत नहीं है. And therefore focus on earning. And for that earning, if it means that you have to look at passive income, you have to look at scalable business, you should do that. And last but not the least, patience is the key. Patience uh, is like planting a tree and waiting for the tree to reap the fruits, which will happen over a period of time. Money grows on the tree of perseverance and patience. And then it is not about having a lot of money. It is about knowing how to manage that money. Because kitna bhi ho jaye, each one of us will have some limitation in life. Unlimited money किसी के पास नहीं है, ना अंबानी के पास है, ना टाटा के पास है. They have a lot of money, but is it that it is unlimited? Probably no. And therefore, how they manage that money is very, very important. But the good part is having a clear idea of where you are and where you want to go financially is the first important step in the right direction. Now, saving के लिए यहाँ पे एक फॉर्मूला मैंने डाला है. Many a times, we look at, saving is after whatever is my income, उसके बाद जो मैं खर्चा करूंगा, उसके बाद जो बचेगा मेरा सेविंग. That may not be the best approach. Rather, what they say is wealthy people invest first and then spend what is left. Whereas broke people spend first and then invest what is left. कभी कभी ऐसा हो सकता है कि हमारी जरूरत हो, दैट सिचुएशनल डिमांड. से फॉर एग्जांपल घर पे कोई शादी है, कोई फंक्शन है, तो मे बी द स्पेंडिंग में टेक प्रायोरिटी. बट इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू टू बी वेल अवेयर दैट मेरा प्रायोरिटी खर्चा करना नहीं है, मेरा प्रायोरिटी सेव करना है. एंड देन उसके बाद जो बचेगा वो मुझे खर्चा करना है, बिकॉज द रिसोर्सेस आर लिमिटेड. And therefore, what they say is, it is important for us to be aware about what should be the target. So minimum 20 to 30% should be saved. 50% can max be your EMI, which is equated monthly installment, especially when somebody is trying to buy a house. 20 to 30% could be your expenses. And 5 to 10% you should give for charity, because it is our duty to give back to society. Now, somebody could say नहीं मेरे पास उतना सेविंग नहीं है, या फिर मैं चैरिटी में पूरा ये 5-10% डालूंगा, तो आई मे नॉट बी एबल टू सेव. इफ दैट इज द केस, देन you give your time, maybe spend some time for charitable purpose, because because हमारा कुछ तो देना है समाज के लिए. We owe something to the society, and therefore it is important. And ye thoda, I mean, this may be a philanthropic, a spiritual angle, but believe me, rather, I can tell you a story, my own story. So, I mean, joined the job, and then was very ambitious, was running after, success, growth, promotions, all of that. And at a point of time, मुझे realize हुआ कि all of these ambitions are taking a toll on my health. And then some point of time I realized that ये भाग रहे हैं बराबर है, बट ये सब भाग के किसके लिए? शायद मुझे डॉक्टर का बिल भरना है. The doctors rather always say, okay, if you meet a dietitian or if you meet a heart surgeon, what they say is, please go and spend, please, eat in hotel twice, thrice in a week, because the more you eat outside, the more machines you are creating for us to buy new vehicles, for us to buy new houses, for us to become more rich. And that point of time, मुझे I happened to meet a doctor, and उन्होंने मुझे बोला, देखो, सबसे पहला है कि the pressure or stress that you are getting because you feel that everything is run by you. And if you remember, I started in the beginning with that idam na mama, right? And that is a key learning that I had, that see, okay, you have to do things passionately, you have to do things with a discipline, but beyond a point, you should not get so much involved in that the success or failure of that impacts you as a person. It could be the situation that could fail, if at all, but not you as a person. And ये बहुत important है हमारे next generation को बताना, because I have seen job loss हो गया, people, young people, have, resorted to committing suicides. बहुत प्रेशर आ गया, एजुकेशन का, पेरेंट्स के एक्सपेक्टेशन का, and then they have tried to run away from house. So it is important for them, so while we are talking about financial discipline, it is also important for them to be aware that it is not that each one of our kids have to become Tata, Birla, Ambani. They can have financial freedom, they can have good life with the financial discipline, they can live the life that they want, because financial freedom is also equally important. So that was the personal independence, personal peace aspect that I was talking about. And then there is a concept called emergency fund. So मैं और एक example यहाँ पे देना चाहूँगा. And अगर आपको किसी को, again, I'm not promoting anyone, but I had visited a financial planner, okay, and it was a good experience. So what he asked me is, अमित बताओ तुम्हारे क्या क्या expenses है monthly basis पे. तो हमने बताया कि ये होता है, वो होता है, किराना होता है, मिल्क होता है, न्यूज़पेपर होता है, पेट्रोल होता है, सोसाइटी मेंटेनेंस होता है, रेंट पे रह रहे तो रेंट होता है. सो ऑल ऑफ दैट वाज टोल्ड. Then he asked me, but what are the things that are not recurring but are one time? So again, I listed some of these things. Then he said, ठीक है अमित, ये सब तो बराबर है, let us do your lifetime expenditure planning. तो अभी लाइफ टाइम एक्सपेंडिचर इनकम का किसी ने पूछा ही नहीं है. तो हम लोग बता रहे हैं कि हर 4 साल में हमको फॉरेन ट्रिप करना है, हर 5 साल में हमको गाड़ी बदलना है, आई वांट टू बाय अ फार्म हाउस, आई वांट टू बाय अ बंगलो, ये सब बताया. उन्होंने मेरा पूरा लाइफ का एक्सपेंडिचर निकाला. देन ही आस्क्ड मी कि यू हैव 2 daughters, सो दे मे गेट मैरिड, तो उनका खर्चा शादी का होगा. I said, yeah. So we identified some number. Then again, one of your daughter at least may want to go abroad for education. तो वो खर्चा हमने निकाला. And then he said, okay, अभी ये सब जो है year wise we have put up, तो ये सब का हम लोग net present value निकालते हैं. And then the number was an astonishing huge number. He said, this much portfolio you need, Amit, today, for you to have the standard of life that you are looking at, to have all your dreams achieved. And then there was one more angle that he introduced is, see, you may not be able to raise this kind of portfolio today, but if something happens to you, it is important that your family continues to pursue the same standard of living. And therefore, it is important for you to get yourself insured because if something happens to you for some reason, then your family should not suffer. So then there was an angle of insurance that was introduced to me. So I mean, I can go on and on, but it is important for us to keep an emergency fund. I will talk about insurance as a concept also. Then comes the next part, which is expenditure, and that is one area मुझे लगता है हमें हमारे बच्चों को बहुत जरूरी है बताना कि most powerful way to grow money is learning to live with less, since you have a complete control on it. The more you increase your standard of living, the more is going to be a need for you to spend, and that may not be commensurate with the earning. And therefore what they say is that it is not your salary that makes you rich, it is your spending habit that is going to make you rich. And जो फॉर्मूला मैंने शुरुआत में बोला वही इंपॉर्टेंट है कि the more you focus on saving for your future and then you spend, so whatever is left after saving, and ये ईसप ने भी बोला है कि it is conservative to prepare today for the wants of tomorrow. बिकॉज बहुत जरूरी है. हम लोग, मेरे पास आज 100 रुपया है, पूरा का पूरा मैंने खर्च कर दिया, मुझे नहीं मालूम कल क्या जरूरत होने वाली है, शायद मुझे नहीं मालूम मैं कल काम कर पाऊंगा या नहीं. एंड देयरफॉर इफ वी कमांड आवर वेल्थ, we shall be rich and free. If our wealth is commanding us, we are poor indeed. Last on this is it is important for us to explain about need and luxury. I touched upon that topic. It is also important for the children and for us also to identify what are the efforts required to meet the cost. अगर मैं, let's say, through the impulsive buying, मुझे अगर आईफोन लेना है, आईफोन 15 प्रो प्लस लेना है, now that may be 1.5 lakh rupees. I have to evaluate how many days of my salary am I spending on that. मैं अगर मेरे इनकम का 3 महीने का सैलरी, फॉर द सेक ऑफ डिस्कशन मेरा 50,000 रुपया मंथली सैलरी, तो मैं पूरा आफ्टर, एंड दैट 50,000 कुड बी से बिफोर टैक्स, तो आफ्टर टैक्स इट कुड बी से इवन लेसर देन दैट. तो मैं कितने महीने का मेरा इनकम ये मोबाइल में डाल रहा हूँ, एंड इज दैट वर्थ, what are the efforts required by me to put. I will give you another example. There was a discussion that I had with my daughter, and she wanted, I mean, she did have a tricycle. I think she was 5 years old, and she did have a tricycle, but it needed some repair. So she said, no, I want to buy a new cycle. I said, why should we buy a new cycle? We should rather look at getting that repaired. She said, no, I need new. I said, but I don't have money. She said, go in the bank and fetch it. Go to the ATM. मैं बोला, ATM में पैसा भगवान नहीं डालता है, ATM में पैसा सरकार नहीं डालती है, जो मैंने कमाया है वही ATM में होता है. तो my elder daughter, she was in 7th or 8th standard. She kept hearing about various things. तो मुझे बोलती है, लोन ले लो पापा. मैं बोला, अरे ये लोन जरूरत है क्या? So then so I found a practical way to explain them. So मैंने उनको बोला कि देखो, ये इतना खर्चा करके, let's say 200-300 रुपया खर्चा करके हम लोग ये साइकिल रेडी कर सकते हैं to be reused. Whereas if we want to buy a new cycle, it would cost, let's say, 5,000 rupees. And what is the effort required? So then I gave them examples कि हमारे यहाँ जो मेड आते हैं, उनके कितने दिन का एफर्ट होगा to earn that 5,000 rupees. With all of this, I think they were able to understand that it cannot be only the cost that has to be looked at, but the efforts required to meet that cost are also very, very important. One has to do that relative costing, opportunity cost. मैं आज एक चीज ले रहा हूँ, तो am I compromising on something that is more productive? Am I compromising on something that could be more rewarding? Say for example, मुझे कुछ कोर्स करना है versus मुझे आईफोन लेना है. Now that course may empower me to increase my installed capacity, and for me to have a potential to earn significantly different. Whereas I'm looking at spending on a gadget. So again, that has to be looked at, and as parents, we also need to rather, what I feel is, how to make children aware is involve them in your decision making, involve them in your day-to-day discussions about any new purchase that you have, any new big purchase that you have. I think that will, in a way, create good amount of awareness. Uh, Again, investment is the key. Saving is a great habit, but without investing and tracking, it just sleeps. Because मनी, हम लोग पैसा अगर सिर्फ मेरे कबर्ड में रखते हैं, ओके, तो पैसे को नहीं आने वाला है, पैसे से पैसा नहीं आने वाला. बट इफ आई पुट दैट मनी से इन शेयर्स और इन एफडी और इन म्यूचुअल फंड्स, आई एम श्योर मनी कैन अट्रैक्ट मनी. सो इन्वेस्टिंग इज अ जर्नी ऑफ सेल्फ डिस्कवरी. इट रिवील्स योर रिलेशनशिप विद योर मनी, योर टॉलरेंस ऑफ रिस्क, बिकॉज रिस्क के ऊपर है कि मैं शेयर्स में इन्वेस्ट करूं, म्यूचुअल फंड में करूं, बैंक में एफडी रखूं, so on and so forth, and your ability to stay disciplined. I think that the most important point is about discipline, because discipline is the aspect that will help you to grow your money. Uh, Warren Buffett says the rule number one is never to lose your money, and the rule number two is never forget rule number one. So it is important that you look at investing at with the right approach. The money, the aspect that money follows money. Look at what are your investment options. Look at what is the risk appetite that you have. And I have some examples. I will talk about that. What they say is money is a terrible master, but it can be an excellent servant if you are in control. So it is important who is in control of whom. Is your money in control of you, or your money is controlling you? So these are, again, there are various types of investments. I don't want to load you, but it is important for us to make our children aware about what all are the aspects. It can be mutual fund, it can be ETF, it can be real estate, it can be, mutual fund, it can be stocks, shares, debentures, bonds, multiple. आजकल तो commodity trading भी है. So all these things are there, and the objective is that you must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you, because you will always run to make your both ends meet, and then you may not be in a position to. And therefore, what Warren Buffett again says is never depend on a single income, make an investment to create a second source. So again, we are talking about passive income. Debt is another important trap. Some people are stuck in their ways, and have been brainwashed into believing that credit cards and debts are unavoidable part of life. But it is not. Rather, what they say is, a good debt is powerful tool, but a bad debt can kill you. Uh, the best way for you to get freedom is to repay your debt. And therefore, one has to evaluate what is the need. Do I really need to take a particular loan? What are the tax angles around that? What is the repayment angle around that? What is the cash flow angle around that? Whether spending on credit card is something that is required today. Can I postpone that? Uh, what is the debt income ratio? मेरा income अगर let's say 100 रुपया है, so should I take a loan of 5,000, which is multiples, is something that one has to look at. And some of these aspects need to be told, because I can tell you, US, what they say is a credit card economy. The entire generation spends more than what they earn. And therefore, that creates a challenge in terms of their peace of mind, their ability to think innovatively, so on and so forth. So every time you borrow money, you're robbing yourself, your future self, is something that you have to keep in mind, because that is a hanging sword. But like I said, good debt is powerful. So one more, very interesting, and maybe on a lighter note. So one of my friend, he was not finding himself motivated doing the job. So I suggested him, you take loan, you will feel motivated, because लोन लोगे तो हर महीना आपको ईएमआई भरना है, हर महीना ईएमआई भरना है, तो आपको दिलो जान से काम करना पड़ेगा, प्रोग्रेस करना पड़ेगा, सक्सेस लेना पड़ेगा, प्रमोशंस लेने पड़ेंगे, इंक्रीमेंट्स लेने पड़ेंगे. So that is also another way. But again, it is important who controls whom. And insurance is another important point. I think I touched upon insurance. There are various types of insurance. Property का होता है, प्रोफेशनल इंश्योरेंस होता है, प्रोफेशनल लाइबिलिटी इंश्योरेंस होता है, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस होता है, कार का इंश्योरेंस होता है, लाइबिलिटी का इंश्योरेंस होता है, इनएबिलिटी टू वर्क का इंश्योरेंस होता है. सो ऑल दीज aspects should first be known to the parents and should be discussed. When you are taking any insurance, please do discuss with the kids, because when you have insurance, you know that you are secured against any unforeseen events in life, and that gives you complete peace of mind. Because there can be some events which you may not have a control, which could be unforeseen, which could be sudden, and you may not have planned for them. And therefore it is important to introduce the concept of insurance to the children. Then comes the next point is about the financial management. What they say is finance without strategy are just numbers, and strategy without finance is just dreaming. So then, for financial planning, what should be the goal? Because see, for kids, and they have enough exposure. So अगर किसी बच्चे को अगर abroad जाना है for higher education, it is important for them to be aware what is their financial goal. When are they going to, how much are they going to stay there? When are they planning to come back? Whether they are planning to come back, what kind of education loan is available, so on and so forth. Very important to be to introduce them to budgeting and planning. Very important for them to be aware about the cash flow management, the strategic investment, so on and so forth. So I don't want to load you with each of the concept, but financial management. And next point is budgeting and planning. What they say is failing to plan is planning to fail. Budget tells you what we can't afford, but it doesn't keep us from buying it. So budget will help us rather to achieve our goals, our financial goals. And therefore, it is important again to make the children aware about बहुत छोटी छोटी चीजें कर सकते हैं. हमारे मंथली एक्सपेंसेस के लिए क्या बजट है, एंड उसमें हम लोग कैसे बिठा सकते हैं हमारे ऑल नीड्स. ओके, मैं वीकली शॉपिंग करने जा रहा हूँ मंडई में टू बाय वेजिटेबल्स. ओके, take them along, let them experience the shopping, let them experience the prioritization, let them understand what are you buying, what are you sacrificing, what are you replacing, all these things, because these are the practical tips that will help them to be financially literate. Then of course important, because आजकल especially from COVID, हर एक बच्चे के पास मोबाइल है. Maybe they may not be carrying it to the school or to their classes. Many a times they do carry for classes. So it is important to teach them about the cyber security, not sharing OTP, not responding to the spam calls, not getting aware. What they talk about is a code word should be there for family, because if some call comes and somebody says that your father is in trouble and please come with me, there has to be a code word that they say, right? There has to be a family code word. So then वो बच्चा उसको पूछेगा कि क्या father का message है, and if that code word is resonating, then only the kid could go with that person. So that, because we see these kind of things, so cyber literacy is equally important, because there is a financial angle in this. बच्चों को किडनैप करके रैंसम मांगा जाता है, so there is a financial angle to that. बच्चों के मोबाइल का गलत इस्तेमाल करके देयर कैन बी एक्सेस टू पेरेंट्स मोबाइल, बिकॉज आजकल हम लोग वो देयर इज दिस गूगल फैमिली शेयरिंग, राइट? सो देयर इज फादर हु हैज द गूगल अकाउंट and he has added one kid, his wife, another kid as family. So there is an access, and that is very, very important. We have to also be aware that there can be gaming addiction to the children when they are carrying, and there is a significant financial impact involved in that. I know that there are cases where children have spent thousands of rupees on these gaming addictions. And for parents also, it is important that you should not pacify your guilt. अभी आजकल ऐसा होता है कि and it is the need, and it is good also that both parents are working. They're through the week, they're busy in their schedule. The work culture also is demanding. and then to pacify themselves, they buy costly gifts, and typically these gifts are in the nature of costly gadgets. So ये भी avoid करना जरूरी है, because what is important again for parents also, it is important to distinguish between needs and luxuries. Now अब तक ये सब हमने बात किया. व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इज, अमित, ये सब तो ठीक है, हमें भी समझ में आ गया. चलो, हाउ डू वी ट्रेन देम? बिकॉज माय किड कुड बी से इन केजी, or somebody's kid could be in fourth standard, somebody's kid could be in eighth standard, somebody's kid could be in college. how do you how do you implement? Advice आपने बहुत दी है, हमने बहुत सुना. How do we implement? So the first step that one could take is introduce them to banking. उनका एक सेविंग अकाउंट खोलते हैं. Whatever pocket money we are giving, we can put that pocket money into the bank account. When they need, let them go and withdraw that money. या फिर there are many UPI apps which can be used, because आजकल हम लोग देखते हैं, especially again after COVID, मेरा चाय वाले के पास भी QR code scanner है. So then, if the kid has a mobile, I'm talking about a kid which is in an age to carry a mobile, not to the school, but let them try. बाकी कुछ नहीं है तो आप आपका मोबाइल दीजिए. Let them have a first hand experience of handling money, handling the finances, handling the banking. These are important points. Teach them how to handle the pocket money. How do they plan their budget? How are they going to keep some money aside, because they may need it for their birthday celebration, which could come 4 months down the line. And उनको बताना है कि you are going to fund your birthday from your pocket money. I'm not going to give you extra money. Whatever pocket money I'm giving you, from that you are going to give them some saving targets for short term, long term. I gave you an example. जो सेविंग कर रहे हैं उनको एक्सप्लेन करिए, चाहिए तो उनके साथ बैंक में जाइए, उनको एक्सप्लेन करिए कि इसका हम लोग एक फिक्स डिपॉजिट करते हैं, देखो पैसे को पैसा कैसे खींचता है. या फिर पॉकेट मनी में से छोटे अमाउंट का, व्हाई नॉट लुक एट अ रिकरिंग अकाउंट? इट मे बी अ डमी स्मॉल अमाउंट, बट दैट इज गोइंग टू गिव देम अ डिसिप्लिन ऑफ सेविंग एट रेगुलर. आजकल अगेन शेयर्स के हिसाब से हम लोग बात करें तो देर आर अ नंबर ऑफ share trading applications that are there. Money Buy, Stock Trainer are some of the examples. So introduce them to this. Introduce them to Monopoly, because Monopoly is a financial game. Let them understand that if you have limited money, from that money, if you buy an asset, you are going to get a rent out of that. By selling that asset, you are going to get money, and that money you can reinvest. So some of these aspects do help children to get a financial perspective. And most important is lead by example. You can't keep getting into lecturing without actually practicing that. Preach what you can follow. Walk the talk is what they say, and that is very important. In terms of their ability, you can tell them कि जो मैं कमा रहा हूँ, मैं अपने कमाई में से कुछ खर्चे कर रहा हूँ. So if you want to earn, let them earn. Give them some small tasks. And please, I mean, I'm not promoting that you commercialize every activity. घर में झाड़ू पोछा करना also, if you start paying them, of course, that will lead to a very transactional and very difficult relationship. But give them some small tasks. उनको बोलिए. आई रिमेम्बर हमारे स्कूल में, प्रांजल, इफ यू रिमेम्बर, हमारे स्कूल में दिवाली में हमें टास्क दिया जाता था कि साबुन बनाओ घर पे. दे यूज्ड टू गिव अस द मटेरियल, बनाओ साबुन एंड जाके बेचो. सम ऑफ दीज टास्क.
खरी
Sorry?
कमाई, खरी कमाई असर है.
Absolutely correct. So give them some small tasks. Let them understand how much efforts it takes to earn. Let them understand how much efforts are put to achieve a particular goal. Okay, whatever money is there, please teach them to split that into three: save, spend, and share. Save is for future, spend is for your needs, and share, which could be with your friends, which could be for some philanthropic activities. बाकी कुछ नहीं. 2 रुपया 5 रुपया जाके मंदिर में भगवान पे चढ़ाए तो that will give them that need to do something for the society. Introduce budgeting. 50-30-20 as a rule can be easily explained to the kids कि what needs पे 50% से ज्यादा खर्चा नहीं करना चाहिए. वॉन्ट्स पे 30% करना है, सेविंग 20% कंपल्सरी है. These ratios can keep changing. What is impulse buying? Teach them, take them to the malls, show them कि ये देखो डिस्काउंट दिख रहा है, बट डिस्काउंट है, देर इज नो फ्री मील, देर इज नो फ्री लंच. ओके, वो डिस्काउंट दे रहे हैं, वो पैसे शायद प्राइसेस बढ़ाए हुए हैं एंड देन डिस्काउंट दिया है, या फिर दे आर कपलिंग थिंग्स टुगेदर. मे बी दे आर कंपेलिंग टू बाय थिंग्स दैट यू रियली डोंट वांट टू बाय. A classic example of that is, if you are really in mall and you're waiting in a queue to make your payment, you would see a lot of these small things that are kept. There could be chocolate, there could be some goodies, there could be some toys that are kept just across the payment counter. Why? Because they are basically inducing you to make that last impulse buying, which is actually not a need. You have never planned for it, but जाते जाते ले लो बिकॉज वहां पे डिस्काउंट दिखता है. सो ये सब चीजें समझना बहुत जरूरी है. अमेजोन सेल होता है, शॉपिंग मॉल होता है, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर इम्पोर्टेंट. एंड देन give the real life example that money is not everything. Not that all rich people are happy, healthy. uh, you know uh, Again, it is not to demean the achievements of rich people or the money that they have earned, but it is important for them to be aware about the fact that money is not everything. uh, One more thing that we can talk about is what is the value you're getting out of the price that you have paid. And these two are very different aspects. So for example, if I'm buying an expensive gaming console, what is the value out of it? The price could be what are 20, 30, 40,000 rupees. But what is the value I'm getting out of it? Whereas if I buy a book, there is a value because there is a lifelong learning that I may have. I talked about opportunity cost. So again, एक live example आपको देता हूँ. My daughter wanted to, so she went somewhere, she saw there was a plastic, slide that was owned by one of her friends. So she said, I also want to buy this slide. So I said, no, why do we need that? It is costly. She said, no, I have looked at Amazon. It is 3,000 rupees only. I said, okay, 3,000 rupees, but let us look at what is the opportunity cost. So ये स्लाइड जो है वो 8 फीट बाय 2.5 फीट है. चलो वो 20 स्क्वायर फीट जगह ऑक्यूपाई कर रही है. हमने ये घर में 15,000 रुपए पर स्क्वायर फीट के हिसाब से हमने घर लिया है. तो 20 स्क्वायर फीट इज अबाउट 30 लाख रुपीज. तो आपका 3,000 रुपए का स्लाइड 30 लाख रुपीज की जगह ऑक्यूपाई करने वाला है. इज दैट द वर्थ? And what is the opportunity we are losing? We are not able to utilize that space for other better purposes. And she realized. Then I said, what is the other opportunity that we can have? What is the other alternative we have? I take you in a auto or Ola Uber to a garden. How much would be the cost? 50 rupees, 100 rupees. She said, no, I understand, let us not buy that slide. So these are some of the day-to-day examples. Do incentivize them for their savings. uh, uh, I will give you an example. I'm sure you would have heard name of Rachana Ranade. She rather gave this example in one of her interviews that she and her brother were given same amount of pocket money, and the only rule their mother had was that you have to give the account of whatever you have spent and how much whatever you have saved. And the mother used to critically evaluate ki, was this required, was this necessary, was this need, was this luxury, have you indulged into something that you could have avoided. And more important, some if either of them has saved money, she would give a bonus of equal amount, saying that because you saved, you are getting this bonus. A very simple small thing, but it brings an important point. And then teach them how to prioritize, whether it is urgent, whether it is important, what is the priority, and then based on that priority, whether something can be eliminated. Last but not the least is, please teach them various financial terms. If I'm spending, is that spending to buy an asset? Is that spending to buy an investment? Is that spending as an expenditure, which has no recurring future benefits? Are some of the things that you have to teach them. क्रेडिट कार्ड पे स्वाइप कर रहे हैं, लायबिलिटी हो रहा है, वो किसी ना किसी दिन उनको देना पड़ने वाला है. 3% पर मंथ इज द इंटरेस्ट, विच मीन्स 36%. हमने एफडी में पैसा रखा तो मुझे 5-6% मिलने वाला है. Whereas if I buy on credit card and I'm not able to pay in time, 36% per annum is the interest I'm going to pay. Please explain them these things. They are smarter than us. They have better exposure. Maybe the perspective needs to be given. Now I will talk about Pranjal. We have 10 minutes, right? I will try to cover this up in 10 minutes. 10
Yes, yes,
maximum.
definitely.
Okay. So these are some of the twists that I have tried to identify from our bedtime stories. So we remember this grasshopper and ant story, right? That grasshopper is, making hay during the summertime, enjoying, whereas the ant is saving for winter. She is collecting food, she's building her house, and grasshopper makes fun of her. Whereas during the winters, the grasshopper dies out of cold and hunger, whereas the ant survives. What does this teach? So, moral of the story from a financial perspective is that planning and budgeting is important. Similarly, the next story about crow and that teacher, the crow, I mean, we know the story. The takeaway from the story is innovative thinking from a financial perspective, innovative thinking to achieve your objective. Then we know this story of a dog who got a bone and then he was crossing a bridge and he saw his own reflection and he felt that that dog has a bone and then he started barking and he lost that bone. What is the takeaway? The takeaway is that you need to control your greed because you had a bone in your mouth, but you wanted that other dog's bone and therefore you started barking at that. Uh, you know, the hare and tortoise story, the faster, slow and steady wins the race. I think that is a principle that is important for investment, right? Then we have this story of miser and his gold. So this miser, uh, he had dug a pit and he had kept all his gold into that. But he was so restless that every day he used to go to the pit, dig it out, look at whether the gold is there, again buried. 2, 3, 4 days this is happening. The servant watches that. Servant follows him and finds that there is this gold. Servant steals that gold. This story actually teaches us the long-term investment principles. If I'm putting money into mutual fund, I cannot keep looking at that every day, every month, every week. It has to be a long-term investment. So that is a long-term principle. Another story is about the priest and the cow. The priest tries to, he gets a cow in donation. He is passing through the jungle. The thugs, try to fool him. Somebody calls it a sheep, somebody calls it a dog, somebody calls it a cow, and he starts believing in that, and then he gives up that cow because he is basically caught in the deceptive description about that cow. That again teaches us that these are the rumors, and if you keep following the rumors, you're going to lose your cow, you're going to lose your investment, you're going to lose your money. The next one is very famous story about the goose that gave golden eggs, and then what this person does is the owner tries to cut it because he feels that there would be a lot of eggs inside, but he stops getting. That is what is important for us to be aware, that you have to look at sustainable investment. You cannot look at killing that investment because that investment may have a potential and for you it is important. So what do these Panchatantra stories basically teach us? It's the beauty of the fables. The stories are simple, but the lessons are timeless, transcending in the era in which they were first told. So, I mean, these are some of the angles that you could cover. Then somebody would say, okay, ये सब तो हमने बता दिया, but the stories are not enough because, and I'm just giving you glimpse or examples. So let's look at Ramayana. The Sanjeevani that Hanuman had got was basically the insurance, which was the last minute emergency. You need to know where is your Sanjeevani, and you need to know where that Sanjeevani is. Lakshman Rekha is basically budgeting because you need to know your limits, is what Lakshmana had tried to tell Sita. The Vanvas that Ram had to undergo was kind of a contingency. And then, I'm not saying that he did not plan or whatever, but you need to be aware that you may also need to go through Vanvas. And in these days and age, you cannot, you need to have a contingency fund. Another important point is you need to have a good advisor. If you have a wrong advisor like Manthara to Kaikeyi, then you might spoil the entire family. You might spoil the entire, house. Rama Setu basically teaches us about corpus. You need to invest. And what did Ram do? Ram invested in the relationship with Sugriva, the Vanaras, and they helped him to build that Setu. And therefore, you need to have a good corpus. The golden deer story, even Sita Mai was attracted to this golden deer, and which was basically deceptive. So that teaches us to have a control over greed, avoid the deceptive, attractions, so on and so forth. And then there is this famous story of Valya, who was the who basically became Valmiki later on. But Valya used to basically kill, the people used to pass through the forest, and he used to rob them and then make the living out of it and take care of family. One day, Narad Rishi is passing. Valya stops him, says, "I'll kill you." Narad Muni says, "But you are doing all these sins. Is your family willing to contribute or participate in the ill effects of your sins?" Wala says, "I don't know that." He says, "Go and check." Wala goes, checks. Family says, "No, it is your duty to take care of our living, take care of our well-being. Now, how you do that is not up to us. You could do it with good deeds also. You are doing bad deeds, so you need to own them up. And that is a learning for us, to say that your family won't own up your mistakes. Forget that. I mean, there is an emotional angle to it. Your family will suffer because of your mistakes. And therefore, it is important for us to be financially wise, is another. Maybe I'll take the last slide, which is on Mahabharata stories. So Bhishma took this pratigya, right? That I will not marry, I'll remain unmarried for life. Now, there was a commitment without doing the analysis. What are the repercussions? So it is again important for us to stop before taking any financial decision. It could be an attractive investment, or it could be an attractive stock, or it could be attractive expenditure. Don't commit unless you do the analysis. Another story is Arjuna was asked, "What do you see?" All these disciples were asked by Dronacharya, and Arjun says, "No, I can see the eye of that bird." That talks about the focus and commitment, and that focus and commitment is required for us to be financially stable and financially sound. Choosing advisor wisely is example of Arjuna selecting Krishna, and the wrong example is Duryodhana choosing Shakuni. So again, for your financial investments, do consult an advisor, but it has to be the right advisor. Eklavya teaches us about self study. So before you are investing, do your own study, because the world may be coming up with various analysis. There may be so many theories that could be there on the internet. Like I said, there is information explosion, but your self study is going to teach you how to be how to take a financial decision. Investing is not gambling. What better example than the Dyuta from Mahabharata? Because that is what Yudhishthir kept doing. He kept losing, but he kept investing, because it was the high of playing that game, and rather his game became a gamble. Uh, Another story about Bakasura. Now, if we look at Bakasura, I'm sure you're aware about the story where Bakasura is an asura, goes to this village and says that I want one man, one animal, and a bucket full of food, and I'm going to eat that every day. That is happening now, and then Beam goes and Beam kills Bakasura. The takeaway is Bakasura is nothing but inflation. It is going to keep eating away your purchasing power. And Beam is your savior, which is your strong investment. The next example is Abhimanyu. While there is a spiritual angle or mythological angle to that, where he listened to that Chakravyuha theory when he was in the womb of his mother, and then he was the last minute savior. But it was half cooked knowledge, and he knew how to enter the Chakravyuha, but he did not know how to exit that. The takeaway for us is that it is important for us to gain full knowledge before we get into the world of investment. Otherwise, we might be left to be an Abhimanyu. We may not know how to move out. And last story is Narova Kunjarova. I'm sure again you would have heard Guru Dronacharya was basically he had his son Ashwatthama. The 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 killing has happened basically of an elephant, but uh, but again they wanted to Pandavas wanted to stop Dronacharya from fighting the war, and then they ask who Dronacharya asks Yudhishthira who died, and the answer he gives is it is Ashwatthama Narova Kunjarova, that is man or and that he says in a very hustling voice. So again, it is falling prey to rumors. There could be rumors that this stock is falling or the market is going to crash. There is going to be inflation. There is going to be recession. But it is for us to be well aware, well analyzed, well informed, and not fall prey for rumors. So these are some of the learnings which we can pass on to our children. Last point that I would leave with you, which you should pass on to your children, is teach them that, tell them that up to your 30s, you follow somebody, commit errors, choose a good boss and not necessarily a good company. 30s and 40s, it is try to do something yourself. 40s to 50s, do something that you are good at. And post 50s, support young generation and create next generation leaders. I think that is the legacy that we should pass on. And why I've taken Jack Ma is he is again a financial wizard, and that is something that we can pass on to our children. With that, I think I took 7 minutes extra, Pranjal, but I hope it was all worth. If there are questions,
that's perfectly all right. Thank you very much. Great piece of advices. You started with needs versus wants. जरूरत क्या है और लग्जरी क्या है वो सोचो. मतलब अजीत सर हमेशा कहते थे वॉन्ट्स को हम क्रेविंग्स कहते हैं. क्रेविंग्स लीड्स टू क्राइम. क्राइम्स. रेजोनेंस भी मुझे अच्छा लगा. कैन वी मेक मनी अर्न मनी. सो मनी अट्रैक्ट्स मनी. दैट फॉर्मूला वाज आल्सो वेरी गुड. मनी से कभी हम संतुष्ट नहीं होते. अनलिमिटेड मनी होता ही नहीं है क्योंकि मनी में भी वो मन है. मन संतुष्ट नहीं, मनी भी संतुष्टता की ओर नहीं ले जाएगा. एफर्ट्स एंड रिवॉर्ड्स का बहुत अच्छा रिलेशनशिप आपने बताया. पेशेंस इज द की, दैट इज अ साधना. चैरिटी 5%. अगर पैसे नहीं दे सकते तो टाइम तो निकालो. अजित सर हमेशा कहते थे की लाईफ आयुष्य म्हणजे फक्त वाटणं आहे. सारखं आपल्याला काहीतरी वाटत असतो आणि आपण काहीतरी वाटत असतो. वाटत असतो. and sharing. Then do remember that you are not doing everything. So doingness में नहीं करना. That was also very good. एक 2-3 sentences बहुत अच्छे लगे. Learn to live with less. That is the best way.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Involve children in decision making. Failing to plan is planning to fail. That was also very very important मैं कहूँगा. Take them to shopping. आपने कहा साइबर लिटरेसी के बारे में बताया. सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग आज तक नहीं सुना था वो कोडवर्ड फॉर फैमिली. दैट वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. कोई फोन करके बताता है कि माँ खतरे में, पिताजी खतरे में, ऐसा है वैसा है. कोडवर्ड फॉर फैमिली वो एकदम इंटरेस्टिंग नया मैंने सुना. बट यूजफुल.
But it is the need of hour. It is the need of the hour.
डेफिनेटली. पेरेंटिंग के सेशन में भी हम कहते हैं और आपने फाइनेंशियल एस्पेक्ट के बारे में उससे बताया. बहुत अच्छा लगा. डोंट रिप्लेस टाइम विथ मनी फॉर योर चिल्ड्रन. टाइम नहीं दे सकते तो उनको पैसे दे दो. उनको कुछ गिफ्ट. हाँ, डोंट पैसिफाई देम. एक्सपीरियंस देम. आपने बोला बैंकिंग से उनको अवगत कराओ. सेविंग टारगेट दो. मोनोपोली गेम का आपने नाम बताया थी ना. मोनोपोली गेम वो दैट यू कैन इंट्रोड्यूस. और लीड बाय एग्जांपल. वॉक द टॉक. मतलब पेरेंट्स ऑन देयर ओन मॉल में जा रहे हैं हर सैटरडे संडे. बहुत सारा शॉपिंग कर रहे हैं. अमेजोन पे कंटिन्यूसली बाइंग कर रहे हैं और बच्चों को बोल रहे हैं सेविंग करो. तो वो ना डिफिकल्ट है. सेव स्पेंड शेयर वो भी अच्छा था. इंसेंटिवाइज सेविंग हैबिट्स, प्रायोरिटी सेटिंग और आपके वो सारे पंचतंत्र, रामायण और महाभारत. एवरीथिंग एक्सलेंट. अगर किसी को कोई सवाल है तो आप सवाल भी पूछ सकते हो प्लीज. Otherwise, session was wonderful with many great insights. If anyone have a question, please do raise the hand and you can definitely ask the question. इसका रिकॉर्डिंग भी अवेलेबल होगा यूट्यूब पे. हम रिकॉर्डिंग करके वो डालने वाले हैं. सो यू कैन डेफिनेटली सी द रिकॉर्डिंग ऑल्सो. बहुत सारे लोग रिकॉर्डिंग देख के बाद में अगर सवाल आएंगे तो यू कैन राइट ईमेल टू info.dsppl@gmail.com, वहां पे आप भेज सकते हो एंड वी विल गेट द आंसर्स फ्रॉम अमित.
श्योर श्योर.
एंड अमित, सबसे बढ़िया हमें लगा कि यू स्टार्टेड विद द ग्रेटिट्यूड. मतलब हम सारे, बहुत सारे जो हमारे लोग हैं डीएसपीपीएल के, बेसिकली दे आर फ्रॉम रेकी विद्या निकेतन, और रेकी का पहला
Correct.
प्रिंसिपल एटीट्यूड ऑफ ग्रेटिट्यूड. So
Correct.
you started with the attitude of gratitude. I need to end it with a attitude of gratitude. Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much for
Thank you
this
very much.
opportunity. I enjoyed preparing. Like I said, thoughts have been there. Rather, some of our friends had asked, since you have done your CA, why don't you
Correct.
tell us? So I think this is going to be a very helpful session for them also.
Correct.
And I personally enjoyed because so many different perspectives were there. I was challenging myself to say, ये थियरी तो ठीक है, हम लोग बहुत बता रहे हैं, हम लोग स्टोरीज प्रिंसिपल सब है, बट हाउ डू वी टीच चिल्ड्रन, एंड then I
That's right.
thought about this Ramayana, Mahabharata and Panchatantra. So that was also a learning for me. So thank you so much, DSPPL and Pranjit.
Yes, thank you very much. यहीं पर आज का हम सेशन समाप्त करते हैं. सब लोगों को फिर एक बार धन्यवाद. अमित, आपको भी एक बार धन्यवाद. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
धन्यवाद. जय गुरुदेव.
जय गुरुदेव. अनंत कोटि ब्रह्मांड नायक राजाधिराज योगिराज सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु श्री स्वामी समर्थ महाराज की जय. अवधूत चिंतन श्री गुरुदेव दत्त. पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव. जय गुरुदेव. थैंक यू वेरी मच. थैंक
Thank
यू.
you.
थैंक यू.